So far we have discussed some of the concepts inside use effect hook. So right now I have a question for you. So we have a simple component, call it counter, and it is just showing us the count of every second. So the count starts at 0, and in the set interval we are setting it by one value each second. So that's a problem. I mean, that's the problem I have. That's the component I have. And let me grab the browser here so that you can see that. Okay, so now you can see if I refresh that, the counts goes from 0 to 1 and then it gets stuck. But we want our count value to go by one value each second. So how would you solve this problem? And I know it looks easy, uh, but we need to deeply understand what's going on here so that we can solve some of the more complex bugs in the future, right? So I have a console log here. I just put it for convenience so that we can see like what's happening, right? If I refresh that, move this guy here, console log. If I refresh it once, you can see the ran is shown once, like just shown when the component mounts, when the counter component mounts. That's okay. But we want uh, this value to get updated every second, right? So what we can do here is simply we can add the dependency because we know that because count is updating here every second, right? And if we tell the use effect that please look at this variable count because it is getting updated, so whenever it changes, just rerun, reload the component. And if we do that, you can see now if I refresh that, so ran is like moving and the counter is moving as well. Each second it's moving one value and ran is also moving. But this is again a bug because we don't want our component to re-render every second. That this is what we want. We want the value to be computed and send it to the component. They are two different things. So right now this is not efficient because imagine you have 5 or 10 of these components and they are refreshing like every second. Like it takes so much compute. We don't want to do that. We need to fix that issue because that causes memory leak, right? Okay, so we have here. So what we can do, whenever you have these kind of problems, the easiest way to solve this problem is to pass an anonymous function inside the setter. So what you can do C, or you can call it count, whatever you want to call it, and then you pass that count as a variable. So now this is an anonymous function. This value gets computed, and if you go here and you refresh that and see, the ran is again moving, but the counter is, I mean, you will feel like nothing changed. But if I remove the dependency, we don't need the dependency here. If I save it, come here, refresh that, see now ran is shown once. We don't need to re-render the component multiple times every second, but the count value is keep on changing. So we learned few things here. First of all, we learned that yes, dependencies matter, but we need to figure out how are we pushing our state. That's the important thing. It is easy to pass on dependency. You will see like in project, like people just pass random dependency. Don't do that because if that dependency change, your component will reload, and on paper or like on screen, you will feel like nothing breaks, but you will lose so much performance. So we need to take care of what we are passing here. Yes, you can pass count, but if you pass count, then this will just refresh every second. We don't want to do that. So we are simply just changing our uh, count variable or via set count and passing an anonymous function. That's all. So this is the most neat and clean way of managing state in a simple component.